Hello YouTube, it's Mike from Team Endgame here, bringing you a set review of Raging Clash of Blade Fangs G-BT10 of Nova Grapplers. So to start with, we've got favourite champ Victor, which is your GR stride, with quite the lengthy effect of GB2, counterblast 2 and choose a card from your hand, discard it. At the end of the battle this unit attacked, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to the same number of rear guards as the number of face-up cards in your G zone and stand them. So stopping at that point, it's a GB2 effect, so you're counterblasting 2 and discarding a card to stand ideally 2 on your second stride. So it's going to be a maximum of 2 unless you G-guard. So following on from that, if 3 or more units were stand, choose 3 cards from your hand and discard them, so your drive check. If you discarded 3 cards, counter charge 1, stand this unit and it gets -2 drive. So it only costs counterblast 1 overall, but you're getting a -2 for the restand because the discard and drive check 3 is obviously your +2 drive check anyway, so I'd see that as a standard. And the fact you get a -2 drive check on the restand after discarding 3 and just drive check 1, you've negated yourself 2. So it's a -2 restander, which isn't exactly great. And also you no, it's -3 because you choose a card from your hand, discard it after counterblasting 2 as well. Jesus. God damn. So in general, you're not looking to do this unless you're looking to win. And the fact it only gets a single drive check also isn't exactly great. A lot of people apparently have gone like, oh my god, it's amazing, like, over the top about it. First, there's a few things to point out. First of all, it is heavy, so even though you can keep doing it, because it's not, of course, once per turn, you can counterblast 2 or look stand and then choose card discard and then discard. So 1, you're counterblasting 2 each time and I'm flipping 1, so you need 3 counterblast active. So that's condition 1, which is hard enough as it is because you're counterblasting a lot in Novas. Second of all, you need a mass amount of cards in your hand, which Nova Grapplers do not have the draw power of, so it is not going to be viable in that sense. Thirdly, it's a GB3 effect. It's a third stride effect because you need 3 face up. So unless you can sack into a G guard, you're not going to be able to get this off on your second stride. I'd say it's most viable for the just simple fact of counterblast 2 and choose a card from your hand, discard it to stand 2 units. So you can get multiple attacks off, attack with the Vanguard, counterblast 2, discard, and stand 2, and yay. But you wouldn't use it in a Victor thing because Victor's restanding a card anyway. You'd use it in clans, in archetypes that don't have the decent restanders on their second stride. But even then, it's quite frustrating how heavy this cost is. So unless you're running quite a vanilla-y deck and you G-guard, I don't see this thing getting off very easily. You're most likely to win on your Nova Grappler deck, in my opinion at least, in my experience, in your second stride. So unless you're looking to G-guard, I wouldn't see this card seeing much play, but it will be in everyone's deck because it's very, of course, powerful. You've got excessive Battle Victor, which is your grade 3 triple rare, so it's your new Victor Stride Break, which is the rush ability of Vanguard or Rear Guard Circle GB2. When this unit stands, use the effect of your card. All of your units in the front row get 2k until the end of the turn. Just nice the fact it's a rush card, because we need more rush cards based on the fact that even this is based on rush. And if it forces me to run rush, similar to every other clan that's getting the sub-clan of Russian things put in their deck, then you have to have decent support, which I don't even think's there for a lot of clans at the moment. So hopefully by the end of this set review I can find out if the rush is good enough. So the secondary effect of when your G unit strides, you choose one of your vanguards. At the end of the turn it gets Vanguard Circle once per turn. Soul Blast 1, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you can pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your rear guards with the rush ability, stand it, or if units or your rear guards in the same column as that unit. And stand all the rear guards in the same column as the unit. So you stand the rush ability card and the one behind it. Of course, it's a Soul Blast 1, which I applaud. because Counterblast 1 is of course the normal Victor one, and anything that doesn't Counterblast is always good, because in a Counterblast heavy deck you're looking to do anything you can. It's once per turn, of course. Look, you're only going to stand a column once, but it's the fact that it's a column as well, not just a single unit, which is also great. So it depends entirely on the viability of Rush, depends if this card's going to see much play, other than the fact, of course, you're going to use it for its name. Son Blau, which is a double rare stride. With Counterblast 1, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a heart with Blau in its card name, you pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 with Blau in its card name, reveal it to your add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. So at that point, it's basically Counterblast 1 when it attacks to plus a grade 3. So it's not phenomenal at this point. Until turn, it gets Vanguard Circle, Limit Break 5. So basically, it's a very last minute thing, and you have to survive on 5. And it's the whole meta knowledge thing of if it is being used, then you have to make sure against Blaus you're not putting them to 5. Because you know this thing's coming. Because basically stride and then restand and do the break ride restand thing. So it's an amazing card if you can get to Limit Break 5. So until your turn it gets Limit Break 5, choose 3 cards from your hand, discard them. So again, a very heavy cost, of course, because you lose your entire drive check. But it does plus you a card. To the battery. At the end of the battle you may pay the cost. If you do, put this unit face up in your G-zone, choose up to 1 grade 3 card from your hand and ride it as stand. So you're looking to ride the break ride, stride into this, then a GB5. When you stride into it, you're discarding 3, so stride to drive check 3 to discard 3 to, because you +1 you break ride, so it's not negging you cards, it's Counterblast 1 to +1. You get your drive check and you discard it, so you reset the entire situation, and yeah, into the battle you break ride is what you're looking to do. But frustratingly, the break rides are still based on the fact it needs to hit. And at Limit Break 5, your opponent's probably looking to be at 5 as well. But it's still great to see a potential wombo combo-y card in Blaus, because I like Blaus and I want to see them get up there again, because they have such good early game. It's just their late game was lacking because they didn't have massive finishes beyond the break ride combo. So you can base your deck around getting this off if you like. You could even run the damage adders to try and proc the Limit Break 5, because it just says when it attacks, it doesn't have to be Limit Break 5 when you stride into it. And it's not a GB2 ability or anything, so if you get rushed down to 5, you can get it off if you like. And yeah, it's I'd say I'm looking forward to this card more than the GR or anything. You've got your G-Guard of Meteor Kaiser Union, which is when this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, if you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, countercharge 2, and this unit gets 5k shield. And on Flipper, my god! When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, you have no cards in your soul, countercharge 2. Soul charge 2, sorry. And this gets 5k shield at the end of the turn. Wow, so that is probably one of the best G-Guards I've seen in the game. I mean, Great Nature have the target 1, neg 1 to unflip 1. This doesn't even neg your cards, it's just like, I've used all my counterblasts, so G-Guard unflip 2, right? And it gains 5k shield, which is exactly the same of course, but it's still like, that's not hurling a cost. So if you have a G-Guard in your hand, you see your opponent go counterblast, you know the G-Guard's coming, because they've got nothing left, and the fact you can Soul Blast 2 and draw or something using the typical 5k, you can then G-Guard and put Soul Charge 2 again to make it active again. So yeah, I'd say I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with the idea of doing that and not relying on things like Claydol to unflip. You've got Volmond Blau, a new grade 3, which has the ability of counter +1 when a unit with Blau and its card name rises this unit, you may pay the cost. If you do, Vanguard gets 10k, and Vanguard Circle, when this attacks a Vanguard, if the number of rear guards you have at stand with Blau and its card name is 3 or more, for that opponent, your opponent cannot call cards with a Sentinel ability of the Guardian Circle. An auto ability, Soul Blast 1, card with Blau in its card name. When your rear guard with Blau in its card name attack hits, you may pay the cost. If you do, countercharge 1. So, as in terms of the secondary effects, it's only of course useful on your grade 3 ride because it's a Vanguard Circle ability of Soul Blast 1 with Blau in its card name. Your rear guard with Blau hits to unflip a damage. But its initial effect, it's just nice to see, of course, more Blau support. I'm a massive fan of them in terms of the archetype. So it's new break ride effect of not allowing your opponent to use Sentinel ability. So with the previous stride, you attack and then put the stride back and break ride, and then you can't call to the Guardian Circle Sentinels. So it's quite threatening, I'd say. So you of course have to perfect guard the stride, because when I go into this and gain the 10k, it's like again you have to G guard or just drop guard. So I'd say this deck's pretty threatening now, the fact I can get away with that as well. Following from that, you've got Giant Star of Zenith Maya the Supreme, which is a rare stride. So in the rares of when this unit drive checks grade 3, choose one of your rear guards, stand it, and it gets 5k to the end of the turn. So it's like the old school grade 3 checks to stand things, which makes you confused about the name. But other than that, it's it's a very gimmicky card. It just gives the typical Vanguard effect of old school Nova Grapplers to a stride. So it obviously wouldn't see much play unless you load your deck with grade 3s, or we get a card that's, oh look, you drive check a grade 2 and it counts as a grade 3, in which case it will become more viable, but it is just a rare. Uranus Blau Kruger, which is your grade 2 rare, 9k. When your unit with Blau in its card name is placed in the Vanguard Circle by riding or a stride from a grade 3 unit, until the end of the turn it gets 5k, and rearguard circle once per turn, counter blast 1 when your Vanguard attack hits a Vanguard. You may pay the cost if you do stand this unit. Right, so it's very similar to Mars from what I remember. When your unit with Blau in its card name is placed on Vanguard Circle by riding or stride. So it's again a threat of, oh look, you can't let Blaus hit because things get off, so let's just guard the Vanguard Circle. I'd prefer if they gave me a card which is a threat if my rear guard hits at least or something, because if I'm focusing on just the Vanguard hitting and it doesn't hit, funnily enough Blau Krugers are going to lose. So we'll see. If you're doing multiple attacks as the Vanguard, of course it's more likely to hit, but he is hoping that the counterblast won't be an issue, G-guards aside, and again it's just another Blau unit which makes a pure Blau deck more viable. You've got Bare Knuckle Ernest, which is a grade 2 8k of GB1. Retire this unit, choose one of your rear guards and stand it. Right. And then you've got the auto ability of Soul Blast 1 and rest this unit, and choose one of your rear guards and rest it. When this unit is placed in rear guard circle, you may cost if you do draw a card. So rest this unit, choose one of your other rear guards, rest it. Where have I seen this before? Oh wait, Street Bouncer. It's basically a Street Bouncer effect. Oh my god, it's non-GB that effect as well. So I can make a deck purely on rest, draw, and dropping this the other side and going Soul Blast 1, rest this unit, choose one of the rear guards, rest it, and draw a card. So I can go rest, draw, rest, Soul Blast, draw. Okay, but then retire this unit, choose one of your rear guards and stand it. As a GB1 effect, the fact you can just go rest, Soul Blast, draw, and then retire to stand where you rested, it's like a little mulligan. So it could even seem viable later on because you're looking just to dig for cards. So I can see this actually quite an applicable card, to be honest. It's like a new revised Street Bouncer, because Street Bouncer is of course dead after early game. I can see myself running this. I looked at it initially like, it's not very good. But yeah, it's pretty good. I quite like it. It gives me draw power in a Nova deck, which I'm not going to ever pass up. An Extreme Battler Vanguard, which is a 7k grade 1 of Rush. When this unit stands, due to the effect from one of your cards, if you have a Vanguard with Victor in its card name, during the turn it gets Rearguard Circle, put this unit into Soul. When an attack hits a Vanguard, so a attack hits a Vanguard, during the battle that this unit attacked or boosted, so this attack, never mind, when you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your other Rearguards with the Rush ability and stand it. So when this unit stands due to the effect of one of your cards, so you'd have to stand this using your Victor, but the fact it's a -1 of put this unit into Soul when an attack hits doesn't make it as viable as I'd like, because again, Nova Grapplers don't plus enough to warrant cards like this. I'd say there are probably better options because you're not likely to plus enough. But then again, if you're pushing them for late game, then negging means nothing because you're looking to win that turn. So it entirely depends on your playstyle. You've got Defending Goddess, which is a Sentinel of Counterblast 1. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle from your hand, during your turn you may pay the cost. If you do, cool top 5s. Oh look, it's a Quintet Wall. Choose one of your Guardians with a Rush ability and it gets 10k shield until the end of the battle. So it's the fact you're milling cards away, in fact you're saving cards, I'm liking anyway. I think it's quite viable considering the G-Guard and things. The fact you can get away with unflipping damage quite easily in Novas because you've got the G-Guard and the Clay Dolls and things like that. It could be quite viable because it's saving you cards in the Rush deck. I could see myself, I'm actually going to test that. Against 10k shield as well. It's not even 5k shield, it's 10k shield. So even more likely to get that 35k shield required to guard a 3 to pass on Astride. Moving on to commons, you've got Quad Gigas, which is a grade 3 10k of Vanguard Circle, Rearguard Circle, GB1. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, this unit gets 4k until the end of the battle. And Rearguard Circle, Soul Blast 1, and retire this unit when this unit attack hits a Vanguard. You may thus if you do, choose one of your Rearguards and stand it. So a Soul Blast 1, neg 1 to restand, so not looking great. And when it attacks a Vanguard on Vanguard Circle, Rearguard Circle, GB1, it gets 4k. So it's just a generic fill-in-y card. I wouldn't say you're going to see much play of it. In fact, you're going to see none play of it, I'm just being nice. Saturn Blau Kruger, another Blau Kruger support, yes. A 9k, grade 2. Choose a card from your hand, discard it. When you drive, check reveals a grade 3 card with Blau in its card name and pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your Vanguards and near their turn, that unit and this unit get 5k. That could be deadly. That could be quite a surprise thing when you go 2 to pass, 3 to pass, and it's like, oh, it's no longer 3 to pass, 2 to pass. It basically makes your Blau grade 3's triggers is what it's getting at. So you can get away with a bad drive check to get past. So it's okay, but there are some better options, I'd say, in Blaus. So you got Spart Centaur of 9k grade 2, which is Rush. Again, nice to see more Rush cards. Soul Blast 1 and choose one of your other rear guards in the same column as the unit and return it to hand. When this unit stands, use the effect of one of your cards. Pay the cost. If you do, this unit gets 5k to the end of the turn. So it's not once per turn, but you of course lose the booster, so you're only looking to use it once. And if you target with Victor as a stride, you get a 19 base swinger. So it's viable. It's a viable card, and the fact it's Rush makes it more likely to be used rather than already existing cards that can be used multiple times and things like that. As what I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is Soul Blast 1 and choose one of your rear guards same column as this unit and return it to hand. It's all in one bracket, so that'll be the cost. So when you stand this from the effective card, you pay the cost. If you do this, you get 5k to the end of the turn. You can't keep reusing it and going 5k, 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 5k. So unlike the already existing cards that are used in a Victor deck, you're mainly going to be using this for its Rush ability. In fact, it's a Rush card. Magical Spinner, which is a grade 2 of Rush. Again, a new support for Rush. When this unit stands due to the effect of one of your cards, until the end of the turn, this unit gets, when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, great, choose one of your opponent's rearguards with power less than equals its power retire. So it's an on-hit retire after it's restood. So again, you don't be using it for its rush ability. It generally wouldn't see much play because it's on hit, which is obviously less likely to happen. Quite frustrating in that sense. However, if you were to go niggle rearguard for 11, attack with the Vanguard, restand it or something, it's now a 21 column because you restood it with Victor or you trigger dumped on it or whatever. And if it hits, you're going to retire a unit. It's a threat. It's a free threat card, so again could see use because you don't want to overly counterblast for other things. Venus Blau, yes, a grade 1 7k of once per turn, GB1, rearguard circle. When your other rearguard stands due to the effect of a Vanguard with Blau in its card name, stand this unit and it gets 3 k in the turn. Oh my gosh! It's a restanding booster for Blaus. Unbelievable. So that again is obviously going to see some play because it's a Blau and they're awesome, and it stands behind at the back as a booster is what you're looking for, because something else, when your other rearguard stand due to the effect of your Vanguard with Blau in its card name, stand this unit. But it doesn't say in the same column. So you can potentially swing with this at the front and restand it for 10, but of course it's quite unlikely that you'll be able to niggle a rearguard for 10 at that point of attacking and restanding in Blaus. But it does. But when your other rearguard stand due to the effect of a Vanguard with Blau, so it'd have to be due to your Vanguard's effect as well. That is that the unit stands. But anyway, stand this unit gets 3k. So I'd like it more if it gained 4k, which I know is not really great, or at least unless it's not likely to happen. Sorry, rather than it's just 3k. Why 3? Because then you could restand for 11. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. So you're just using it to restand it behind a unit, basically for a 10k boost for a bigger column. So let's say you've got a card that's 11k or 12k swinger, you can go basically your 16 barrier and then you're hitting the 21 barrier on the restand. But you'd have to, it would just restand the column. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see. So similar, like I said earlier, with the, you can use that Counterblast 2 stride if you wanted to, because it would retain the Blau name to restand the 2 in front of it, or whatever you're using, whatever card you're using, it's basically there to swing for that 21 on the restand. Neptune Blau, hand continuous. If you have a grade 3 card with Blau on its card name in your soul, stride fodder? What? A grade 3 card with Blau on its card name in your soul. Ah, that is annoying. That would mean I'd have to break ride or something. Okay, when this unit is discarded from your hand for the cost of stride, if you have a grade 3 Blau on its card name in your soul, you may call this to rearguard circle. Oh my gosh! So again, you'd probably use this for its Blau name. It's quite a massive setup to go. I have to have done my break ride already, because that's obviously what we're aiming to do in Blaus with that new stride and things. And when this card is discarded, you call it. It's obviously just nice anyway, but you have to have a grade 3 card with Blau and its card name in your soul in both scenarios. So it's so late game, it's not even worth mentioning. I would just see this as a Blau 7k. So if you're looking to make a pure Blau deck, you're looking to do it, because you're not striding unless you're going into the one that's the Limit Break 5, that's your win condition, unless you go Break Ride Stride, in which case you've lost your Break Ride ability. So it's not useful really, the first effect I'd say. And when you discard it for the cost of stride, if you have a grade 3 Blau, its card name in soul, put a rearguard circle, that part, it's not even due to the effect of a stride, so you can't even do it for the I attack and I have to discard a card to restand. Like discard 3, it's not like you're calling units to get more attacks off and things. So again, you'd have to just do the break ride first. You're literally using it for its name. Long story short. Furious Puncher, which is a 7k grade 1 of Rush, GB1. When this unit stands, use the effect of one of your cards. Choose one of your other units and it gets 5 at the end of the turn. And GB1, retire this unit, choose one of your rear guards and stand it as an act. Okay, so unless you're resting this unit in general for costs such as Street Bouncer and whatnot from earlier, you can retire the unit, choose one of your rear guards and stand it. So you can go rest this unit to draw a card and then retire this unit to stand the one in front of it. So it'd be the Street Bouncer or the one in this set that I mentioned earlier, to stand it. So you just 1 for 1 just to dig in your deck. So it's another I dig through my deck card, combo card I'd say. But the first effect, of course, is a Rush, which is good. It's 7k, which is good. When this unit stands, you effect of one of your cards, choose one of your other units, and it gets 5k. Unless you're restaying the column, make it a new 21k column. So it's nice in that sense. So if you're making a deck that can restand the column, or you put this as even as a 14 column and you restand it using, if you stand it using Victor or something, then you can go like 14 because it's 7 on 7, and then you restand it for 12, and then the other side can get 5k, so it'd be 14, 12, and then the other side 21. So it's a bit flexible in that sense, but on the basic side of things, you'd use it as I've restood this column, so I add 5k to one of my other units, so the one in front of it, so make it a 21 column. But its secondary effect, it's interesting, I picked up on that, the choose one of your rear guards, stand it, and retire the unit. So the fact you can dig for the combo pieces is kind of good, but you're probably just going to use it for its initial skill and the fact it's Rush. You've got Claydol Chariots, which is a typical card of grade 1 5k, Soul Blast 2 when it's placed in a rear guard circle. You may do, if you do, Countercharge 2. So again, a card that's focused on unflipping, so I wouldn't say it's as viable as something like Claydol because they're both on cools. I'd rather have a 7k unflip 1 than a 5k Soul Blast unflip 2, especially when the deck requires field setups and decent columns. Okay, following from that, you got Petite Ace, which is your new forerunner of rear guard circle, GB1, Counterblast 1 and rest this unit, choose one of your rear guards and stand it, and if that unit has a rush ability, increase that unit's power by this unit's power until the end of the turn, retire this unit. Choose one of your other rear guards and rest it, this unit gets 3k at the end of the turn. It's the fact they're both acts and not like during the turn and things, it's not a very viable card, and it's just powering up units for counterblasts and an unnecessary counterblast really. So unless you're looking just to power it up by 3k as a secondary skill by resting a unit, then it's not really going to see much play in my opinion. Mega Hammer Lady, which is your new draw trigger. Toughness Jane, which is your new heal trigger. Red Lightning, which is your reprinted crit trigger of 4k. Put this unit into soul if you have Nova Grappler Vanguard. Choose one of your cards in damage zone and turn it face up. So a card that's pretty good and hard to get a hold of. And the last card is Stream Battler Winning Break, which is your new stand trigger 4k of Rush. GB1, put this unit on the bottom of your deck. When this unit stands, use the effect of one of your cards, you prepare the cost. If you do, draw a card, choose one of your cards and stand it. So rather than restand, as long as you're not wasting a 5k with something like Victor by restanding it, giving it 5k and then getting rid of it just to draw a card and stand the one in front of it, you're mainly looking for it to use it because it's simply Rush, or you're looking for a stand trigger based deck. In general, it's nice just to get a 1-for-1 and send a trigger back. So stand triggers are obviously getting more support here and there to make us want to use them more. But you'll probably be mainly using it just again for Rush or just the fact that it's a stand trigger. Also, as a side note, of course, with a deck that can't plus enough, if you're dropping your hand and then bouncing it back for guard, then it's always nice to see as well. Overall, the support in the set is pretty good, I'd say. I'm actually quite happy with it. You've got, of course, the Blau support, but then again, it's not. I still think they're going to struggle with the I require my Vanguard to hit, and unless you're doing well early game in Blau, there's always a struggle mid to late. Rush cards, again, arguable depending on how viable you make the deck and how strong the strides are and things. It depends how underwhelming they are or overwhelming. So it entirely comes down to testing. I cannot give an opinion on these cards really until I put them into practice, because as far as I'm aware, Victor still will have that setup required. So unless I can make a deck based around making the deck more consistent and getting the hand power required, then the strides and the setup's still going to be too slow and not defensive enough for the format. And same with Blaus with the draw power and things, but they do have the early game, so that does slow them down a little bit and not allow them to get a massive head start on you, and does rush them down, but it still requires the Vanguard to hit. So again, it just entirely comes down to practice. So let's see, basically, let's see. I'm looking forward to Blaus the most, simply because I always liked playing Blaus. I've never competed with Nova Grapplers myself until I played Blaus when they were the thing. And my favourite card, I'd say, is the Limit Break 5 Blau, because it seems fun. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and listening. Feel free to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.